everyone. I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us here on Featured. We hope to inspire or simply make you smile with uplifting stories across the country. And we're starting off with a music producer who is giving back in Georgia. Joe Ripley shares how he is making room for others to follow in his footsteps.
Man, I was pretty decent.
Walking these halls takes Kevin Price back. His talent as a visual artist led to his love as a musical one.
I'm the guy responsible for making the beat that everyone's favorite rappers and singers rap and sing on.
Price now goes by the stage name Go Grizz, working with hip-hop's top stars. And that work started at a magnet program that ultimately became Stillwell School of the Arts.
Having this outlet and the resources here helped shape and change my life entirely. So whatever I can do to provide that same thing for another kid, that's what I'm here to do.
Jeremy Lemieux says Grizz got inspired by music in his art class and outworked everyone.
There were definitely signs that he was going to be successful. He had a really strong drive to get things done.
And that work's paid off. Now Grizz is paying it forward.
I believe the great legends always leave something behind.
3 years ago, he and his partner, Sonny Liberty, started the Go Grizz Foundation. They've been able to donate $20,000 to Clayton County schools. The foundation also lets kids with special needs experience a music studio.
The foundation is all about the next generation of artists. There's so many programs that's dying out when it comes to arts in the school, music in the school.
Go Grizz, remembering his roots, making sure the beat goes on so others can have the same opportunities he did.
If you really have a passion for something, regardless of what it is, if you're ready to put your 100% into it, it'll give you that 100% back.
Something just clicked for me. I recognize his producer tag on the rapper Lotto's songs, so that's pretty cool. That was Joe Ripley reporting. All right, now for some singers, Broadway isn't just a goal, it is the dream. Two kids from Minnesota are already halfway there. Michelle Bake caught up with them before the incredible musical moment to remember.
To music lovers everywhere, one city is often the destination.
I love visiting New York.
Ever heard of Broadway?
Wicked, Hamilton. I'm going to 6 this time.
Layla?
So yeah.
Eliza will be there. What about Carnegie Hall? Layla will be there too, only performing.
The nerves, I think they'll hit before I go on stage.
A spot in Saturday's recital is well earned. The classical singer from White Bear Lake claimed a first-place prize at the American Protégé International Vocal Competition. The 16-year-old stands tall with music lessons that started in kindergarten. Her vocal talent was discovered early on by Dr. Mi-kyung Park, who at the McPhail Center for Music,
when they still engage with their lines while you're listening,
still teaches Layla from the piano bench.
That's good. Carnegie Hall will, I hope, give her more motivation.
Proud?
Oh, yes.
Dr. Park can say that again.
Good, you made it. That's great.
For a second student of hers is singing this weekend at Carnegie.
Good.
At 13 years old, Max Zhang is achieving what most singers chase in a lifetime.
When they told me I was good at singing, I was just like, oh, wow. Nice.
His second place prize is from the same international competition as Layla's.
He's a very talented, sweet boy.
Also shared is that love for music.
A lot of homework. I just take my mind off of it by singing for like 30 minutes and then I go back to my work.
As Max and Layla make their Carnegie debuts, the city may beckon a comeback.
The dream is Broadway. Hopefully I'll be back.
Michelle Beck.
Music has the ability to bring us joy and comfort, but for one man who survived the Holocaust, it was a light that guided him to survival. Samantha Fisher shares his story in Minnesota.
Adam Hongorski's violin doesn't just sing, it speaks. A voice shaped by survival, now breaking the silence to honor the past.
There is no other person in the world who can say I've given my first orchestra solo concert with orchestra 77 years ago. And I'm still around. I can still play.
A Jewish boy born in Lviv, Poland, just as World War II reached its borders. Adam's early years were marked by separation and survival.
When you are separated from your parents at a young age, they will never be your parents again.
His mother, a musician with a Ukrainian orchestra, found herself trapped in Russia as war broke out. His father, hoping to find her, volunteering for the invading German army.
Because my father ran away from Germans, and the Russians put him in a prison camp.
They left Adam behind with his grandparents in the Krakow ghetto, who were then rounded up and taken to the Belzec extermination camp.
With a one-day difference, I would have been here.
But not before saving their grandson.
I was left my grandmother, who was taken with the train here, and they left me by neighbors. They wrote her, "We are standing ready, packed, ready to go."
They wrote that letter to the family's housekeeper, who would go on to smuggle Adam out.
She decided to have me baptized as her own illegitimate child.
Katarzyna and her husband Jan.
And he was quite a hero because, he married a woman hiding a Jewish kid.
Gave Adam a future.
That was the happiest time of my life.
By 1944, the Nazis had retreated from Lviv, and Adam's biological mother returned.
She came back to Lviv, and she had no idea whether I was alive.
Adam reunited with his biological parents.
She ran into her on the street.
But stayed true to the parents who had saved him.
Until the very end, I always called her mother.
Several decades and dozens of international tours later, the former Minnesota orchestra concertmaster planted his roots in Plymouth.
So there is no other place like this.
Still using his instrument.
It's a very powerful sound.
Giving power back to those once powerless. In 2012, Adam traveled back to Poland, where he honored the heroic actions of the Righteous Among the Nations, a group of people who selflessly put their own lives in danger during the Holocaust to help their Jewish neighbors.
And I'm full of admiration till this day.
Adam Hongorski survived one of history's darkest chapters, becoming a living reminder that humanity is best experienced in the light.
If it's not yesterday, if it's not 10 years ago, it will be maybe 50 years ago, but things happened before.
A message that resounds still.
That was Samantha Fisher reporting. 22 years of memories went up in flames for a homeowner, but his neighbors are refusing to let him start over alone. Jade Cunningham shows us how a community in Arizona is proving that kindness and support are never too far away.
Who wants to wake up knowing that everything is gone, everything that you've worked for is gone, and to know that you don't even have a start to rebuild? Yeah, it does touch me.
With no health or home insurance, this 71-year-old veteran's hope gone until...
Well, he's our neighbor. Like, this is what we do.
Neighbors all around deciding to take matters into their own hands.
We are caring people, and if somebody's down, it's on the rest of us to step up.
The plan is to help Griggs rebuild. On Saturday, a community meeting was held to discuss how to get the project going. It's not an overnight fix, but they're on the right path, taking it one step at a time.
It makes it nice, that we all come together to show the man that at this point probably doesn't have a lot of hope, that there is hope, and with the community support, we can help you get it off and running.
Just gratitude for the people here. I'm just so grateful.
For Griggs,
never expected anything like this at all.
the kind gesture is overwhelming.
Incredibly, you know, it's wonderful people, you know, that doing this, trying to help me type of things. And I don't feel like I'm a person that deserves it.
But watching friends, neighbors, and even complete strangers working together to help him fills his heart with hope when everything else was taken away.
And that was Jade Cunningham reporting. We have much more for you straight ahead on Featured. Do you struggle to eat healthy? Well, I do too sometimes. I feel like I always need a sweet treat. All right, so I took a cooking class where food is turned into medicine, and I have to tell you, it actually tastes good. Plus, a diner where customers become family, and the routine breakfast that brought them closer than ever. And a little bit later on this morning, this lady is 108 years old, and she has more comebacks than your group chat. Meet a woman who proves age is just a number. The path to a healthier life begins with what's on your plate. I'm here at Yale New Haven Health, where patients have signed up for a cooking class that teaches them the most powerful prescriptions aren't in the medicine cabinet, they're in the kitchen. Yale New Haven Health offers a one-of-a-kind culinary experience where patients step into a state-of-the-art kitchen to cook alongside a chef and a registered dietitian, turning healthy ingredients into meals they can easily make at home. Super processed foods like ice cream, soda, and frozen pizza may taste amazing, but overindulging can potentially lead to some not so sweet side effects like diabetes and high blood pressure. And even though we all know we should eat better, many of us still fall into unhealthy habits.
After 6 o'clock, watching TV, I'm hungry, I don't know what to eat, so you reach for the wrong stuff.
I'll admit, I'm guilty of this too. But Yale's director of culinary medicine, Nate Wood, says people can take the driver's seat in their own health journey, and it doesn't mean sacrificing flavor.
Healthy cooking can be fun. It can be fun and it can be delicious. You don't have to give up all your favorite things. You can add in some more fruits and vegetables, legumes, whole grains, nuts, seeds, things that are delicious and also really improve the health of your diet without, giving up on your favorites.
And in this class, we made one of my favorites, tacos. Love them. Now, they don't exactly scream healthy, but we tossed in some tomatoes, mushrooms, and lettuce, and suddenly, small changes turned into a big payoff.
People think that healthy eating is really complicated, and we're really here to try to show that it's not. It does not take a lot. Not many steps needed to really make improvements to your health.
The chefs tell me the teaching kitchen isn't just about filling stomachs with the right ingredients. It's all about fueling lives with the right ingredients.
I think to know the impact that I'm making, not just on the patient, but their family, whether it's their partner, their parent. So being able to change their mindset, their skills and abilities, and know that that's going to have a ripple effect.
And we saw that ripple effect firsthand in the room. I spoke to a mother who wasn't learning to cook healthy for herself.
Mainly for my daughter, who has major heart issues.
What do you think she'd say if she were here to watch you?
She is here.
Oh, wait, where?
She's right over there.
Oh.
Eating her tacos.
At the end of class, we all got to dig in and enjoy the fruits of our labor. And let's just say everyone we talked to seemed pretty happy with the results. And you plan to sign up for the next class, right?
Oh, absolutely. Whatever I can get. They got room for me, I'll be here.
It's been a great experience, and I hope to take more of the classes.
Okay, now check out the screen behind me. You can see a little bit of the behind the scenes. I wore the hairnet and an apron. It was such a cool experience. Now, the woman beside me, this is my cooking buddy, Tanya Barr. She's from Hamden, Connecticut. And she told me she has taken the class before, but she's learned her new skills led to some major changes in her life, like weight loss and more energy. 10 out of 10 recommend. I would absolutely do it again. All right, let's move on to our next story here. This St. Louis diner is known for its comfort food, but the owner recently served up something even more extraordinary, a second chance at life. Mike Bush shows us how one customer's regular order became a recipe for survival.
Everything tasting great? Perfect.
At the Olivet Diner, the menu offers breakfast and lunch, but the special of the day turned out to be something you can't put a price on. The griddles have been sizzling here since 1958.
I have peach, cherry, butterscotch.
Melinda de Blasi and her husband are only the third owners of this St. Louis area institution where time seems to stand still.
It's an old, original 1950s diner. It's cash only. It's the smash burgers. It's everything that you would envision.
But the real staple on the menu, a sense of belonging.
Would you like a side of spinach as well?
Melinda doesn't just take orders, she takes care of people.
Your kids good?
Treating every customer like family.
We have the best customers in the entire world. In fact, some of our customers have been coming here since 1958.
One of those regulars is Dan Carroll. At 75, he's practically part of the furniture, always ordering the same thing, a number 4, which is 2 eggs over easy with hash browns.
And either 2 sausage patties or ham slice and sourdough toast.
A breakfast as predictable as the sunrise. But on this particular morning, something happened that no one saw coming.
And I looked at Dan and I said, Dan, more coffee. And he didn't respond, and I looked and he was slumped over.
So Melinda felt his pulse, and he didn't have one.
I have a little nursing history. 15 years ago, I was an ICU nurse. So I guess everything just came back a little.
Richard McLaughlin was sitting at the counter when he heard the urgency in Melinda's voice.
I got up and was heading to the restroom, and all I had heard was Melinda yell my name once and yelled it again.
As Richard called 911, Melinda took control. She eased Dan onto the floor and started compressions.
After a couple more compressions, I got some breaths, some agonal breathing from Dan, which was wonderful.
The paramedics arrived and rushed Dan to the hospital.
You guys good?
And then Melinda did what diner owners do.
Would you like more coffee, Mike?
She picked up the coffee pot and went back to work.
Here you go.
But everyone around her knew they'd witnessed something extraordinary.
I looked at all the customers and they were all crying. They were all crying and they were like, oh my goodness, we watched you save him.
Just a week later, proof of the miracle walked right through the diner's front door once again.
I was really, really lucky that she was here.
When I saw him walking into the door, I started crying. I got teary-eyed. And he walked in and I gave him the biggest hug he's probably ever had.
I hugged her. And said, thank you. Thank you very much. She, it's not lost on me. In my mind, she saved my life.
Doctors told Dan that severe dehydration caused his collapse. Now he's drinking more water and soaking up every extra day.
I think I did what anyone would have done had they had the same knowledge that I did.
Richard, who helped that day, says Melinda is absolutely a hero.
Oh, 100%. That's, the right people in the right place at the right time.
At the Olivet Diner, they still make food the old-fashioned way.
Well, it's good to see you, Dan.
See you later, ma'am.
Please take care of yourself.
I will.
But as their customers know, the most important thing they serve here doesn't come on a plate.
Great story from Mike Bush. Well, we have more for you coming up right on the other side of this break. A family's cross-country trip hit a roadblock. We'll tell you what a group of firefighters did to put them back on track. Plus, no food left behind. How families packing to move can take a bite out of hunger. Welcome back. Never been stranded on the side of the road with a car that just won't start? Ooh, all right, well, that is exactly what happened to a family traveling from Florida to Missouri. But thanks to a few firefighters, their setback turned into an unexpected act of kindness. Jeremiah Brown explains.
Chloe Nancy and her family had just a couple hours left in their drive from Florida back home to Ludington.
And we were driving home from Florida, towing our camper with our 2 dogs and our 2 young kids, when the rain cleared and the truck started to smoke black, like it was huge.
On the rainy Sunday evening in Ottawa County, her family quickly pulled over and called 911. The Olive Township Fire Department responded to a potential vehicle fire, and while there was no fire, they still found a family in need.
The front brake pads were so worn down that they had actually slipped out of place and were jammed, so that was causing a lot of heat. And then the caliper part of the brake actually overextended and started leaking. So they were kind of stuck. We were kind of discussing it, and I looked at it and then approached him and said, my full-time job is a diesel mechanic, and that's something I could help them out with.
Their family vacation took an unplanned detour to the lieutenant's barn, where he repaired their brake and replaced another one just to be safe.
These are volunteer firefighters, taking the time out of their Sunday night to help absolute strangers. They just treated us like family. Steve's dad went and got all the parts for our truck that we needed, and after about 3 hours we were back on the road, and at the end of the night our kids were home safely in their bed.
The crew at the Olive Township Fire Department says it was just a day's work.
We do it to serve residents of Olive Township and anybody that passes through our township.
Often when we get called, it's people's worst day, and it's not often that we can totally turn it around and make it a really good day for them.
We just aim to show kindness to others the way that it was shown to us by this team.
And that was Jeremiah Brown reporting. Time for a quick break, but let's check out what's coming up next. A blood donation milestone that is 140 gallons in the making, while he continues to roll up his sleeve for others. And a bit later on, we meet the man behind this dance, and we learn why every step tells a story of courage. Hey there, thank you for staying with us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you uplifting stories across the country. Now, if you've ever moved, you know the drill. Pack what you keep, toss the rest. But that leftover food doesn't have to go to waste. Hunter Funk tells us how a group of volunteers are putting it to good use.
That's the sound of a move coming together. But cans, pasta, perfectly good food usually gets left behind in the rush. For Adam Lowy, that waste was impossible to ignore.
So my family has owned a moving company in New Jersey for 100 years. My great-grandfather started it. But in that time, we saw people throw away all sorts of stuff, food, clothing, furniture. But what always bothered us was the perfectly good food, non-perishable food getting thrown away or left behind.
Okay, that one should be able to go just straight in.
And straight in, Lowy went, asking customers one simple question: do you want to donate your food? And in just 1 month, his family collected 300 pounds of food.
And it just kind of blew my mind. And I realized if my family could feed this many people by doing their jobs, what happens when you get others involved?
Now, that all started in New Jersey, but today, Move for Hunger partners with more than 1,400 moving companies nationwide, including right here in Idaho.
In Idaho, 1 in 6 kids go to bed not knowing where their next meal is coming from.
Local movers like Merchants Moving and Storage are helping close the gap, collecting non-perishable food and delivers it to local churches and food banks.
Part of my job is going out day to day, walking through a customer's house, and that's when I bring it up. If you have any need to donate food, this is part of our process.
Not only do they grab the food that gets left behind, they also hold food drives several times a year to help families not just during the holidays but year-round. Collectively, Move for Hunger's partners have donated more than 88,000 pounds of food, feeding more than 70,000 people in Idaho. For movers who see Idaho's growth every day, they do it because they know giving back is part of the job.
It's just a matter of being part of the community here in town. I mean, we've been around for almost 80 years. We try to just support and hold up our community.
That was Hunter Funk reporting. When a Virginia cafe closed its doors, many thought its story had come to an end. But as Sean Martinelli explains, the business found a new way to serve by feeding those who need it the most.
Inside this Arlington, Virginia cafe, it's business unusual. That's because in January, this restaurant closed. That usually means the lights go out and the knives go dull, but not tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brian McNair ran the now closed cafe. It was an extension of Kitchen of Purpose, which provides culinary training to underserved communities.
We were sitting here in the empty space having a meeting and thinking, what are we going to do with this?
That's when Brian had a thought. Just because the doors were closed, an opportunity could still open.
Chef, how are you?
It opened for nearby chefs like Mason Fillmore to come use the space.
Thanks for having me.
And it opened for guests.
What's your name?
Joseph.
Like these.
How you doing, man? Nice to meet you. It's the start of serving someone
I have some cornbread for you.
in a way that they haven't been served.
They arrived from Path Forward,
Pink lemonade.
a nonprofit for those experiencing homelessness.
It delivers this message of self-respect rather than just giving you the bottom of the barrel, which they often get.
Each month, a new chef volunteers their time.
Chef Mason Fillmore prepared a beautiful meal for y'all.
4 courses, the best ingredients,
Delicious, wonderful.
the best experience.
Welcome everybody to Family Meal. This is the second one we're doing. And what it means is that you're part of our family.
So far, so good. Yeah.
I want to give these guys a little bit of hope.
Hope that comes from the plate, and tonight, from the person preparing the plate.
I've been locked up. I've done all of that stuff. I work hard, play hard, but I play hard like this now. So I give back to the community. If they can see me doing this for them, then hopefully that's a little bit of hope for them to like keep going.
Oh man, this is awesome.
We wondered, could one meal really keep someone going? Then we asked Todd Bruner.
I feel honored to be invited here.
6 years ago, Todd lost his wife and daughter. He now has cancer. But he says because of opportunities like this.
I have a reason to live now. And that's the most important thing.
We're really serving meals with dignity. They start to get this self-esteem. They're like, maybe I'm worthy, you know?
Proof that even when business stops, you can still serve.
That was Sean Martinelli reporting. From serving meals to saving lives, this Texas man's impact cannot be measured in plates, but in pints. Just call him the Babe Ruth of blood donors, because he just donated his 140th gallon of blood.
It's like showing love for a fellow human being, you know, giving to give, like we're supposed to love each other. What better way than show love by giving a pint of blood, a bag of platelets? Don't cost you nothing.
The reason behind his giving, he says a blood donation saved his own life when he was a baby. That's amazing, and what a great way to pay it forward. All right, let's celebrate an Arizona woman who was born 5 years after Arizona became a state, and I think it's safe to say she has truly seen it all. As Mark Curtis found out, her sharp wit and personality will definitely keep you on your toes. Take a look.
You could just ask any one of these whether I complain. No.
If there's one word that would describe Miriam Lowe, it's spunk.
I bet most of the people you deal with are old.
Yes, they are. And they're not very chatty.
No.
Yeah, they don't seem to be enjoying their life.
Right.
Yeah, so you are different.
They complain.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not something you do, is it?
No, never.
See what I mean? Over the years, Miriam has seen it all, heard it all, and pretty much done it all. And at 108, a reporter bearing flowers wasn't exactly going to impress her. Miriam.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
And many more.
Thank you.
These are for you. I hope you like sunflowers.
Mother, this is the reporter. Oh. I didn't know.
Well, it's not every day I get to bring a birthday girl some flowers, so I never turn that opportunity down.
And especially one so young.
Young, yes.
Very young.
She was born in Milwaukee in 1917. America was on the brink of World War I. Women had finally been given the right to vote. And as the years went by and one world war replaced another, she met and married Irving, who she'd spend the next 60 years with.
He was a good guy and I was a good girl.
They had a great life together, Irving and Miriam. Aside from raising 3 kids, she built a large accounting practice at a time when women running a business was a relatively new concept. And I understand that you were a CPA and you did taxes until you were turned 100. Is that right?
I don't know what I quit, but it wasn't too long ago.
Although life was hectic, Miriam and Irving always made time for their shared passion, traveling the world.
Well, there are a lot of places that I want. I made reservations to India 4 times. Never got there. Had to cancel every time.
Something came up. They say variety is the spice of life. Miriam still craves that spice, although these days that variety tends to come from reading and playing bridge online.
I wouldn't even tell them about bridge. We did so poorly. The last 2 weeks have been awful.
You're on a losing streak?
Yeah.
Miriam is always a joy to meet with her. She always wants to ask questions and learn about new things.
As you might have guessed, there will be no retirement home for Miriam. She was adamant about staying in her home. So instead, she has a team of caretakers who watch over her.
She's open to new technology. I mean, what other individual that's over 100 is embracing playing games online and access to virtual technology to monitor her in her home?
Maybe the old song is really true. If you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive. And here's the best part. You have a head start, if you're like Miriam, among the very young at heart. Happy 108th, Miriam, and many more.
If you are among the very young.
That was Mark Curtis reporting. Now, what was your best birthday gift? Maybe it was a new car or some concert tickets to your favorite artist or band. But if you ask a high school student in Connecticut, it was this moment right here. On his 17th birthday, Kyle sank a half-court shot that broke a tie and sealed the win for his high school team. Take a look. That's one shot that traveled from the gym floor straight to social media stardom.
Me and my teammates were like, well, we should send this to Game Time CT. So, I mean, we did that, and we're kind of thinking like, oh, it's probably like the most it's gonna get. Then all of a sudden, like later that night, it's on Sports Center, and then House of Highlights post me, so like all that just like happened.
The play went viral on social media, and it ranked second on SportsCenter's top 10 plays. Hey, that's pretty awesome. It's safe to say that Kyle's 17th birthday might just be his most memorable one yet. All right, we still have more for you straight ahead. Let's get a sneak peek of what's coming up next on Featured. A fall that changed the tune for a radio host and opened his listeners to a powerful mission. And he once stayed silent, but now he is finding his voice. We'll tell you why one rapper is changing the lyrics to make a difference. Welcome back. A radio host has used his voice to entertain and connect with listeners across St. Louis, but after a deeply personal loss, he found a new purpose that goes far beyond the microphone. Mike Bush tells us about his mission to bring comfort to those in their final hours.
Welcome back, guys. DGS on KMOX. Happy Wednesday to you.
For a quarter century, Dave Glover of KMOX has been one of the most powerful voices on St. Louis radio.
This was so important to my mom and dad. They're from that generation.
But it was in one of his darkest moments where he discovered what truly needed to be heard.
She was 95 pounds of pure fury.
Dave's mom was his biggest fan. But this summer at 96, she fell. And everything changed.
She immediately kind of went into a state of dementia, which she hadn't had before the fall. So that was tough because it was like losing her a couple of times.
She came here to the skilled nursing community, Bethesda Dilworth, where Dave and his family spent every moment they could with her. But then, one night, exhausted, they were sent home.
They said, you need to go home. And we have this organization of volunteers called NODA, No One Dies Alone.
Ready to go.
NODA is a group of angels in human form.
Not bad for an 87-year-old.
Volunteers who ensure that in life's final moments, no one takes that journey alone.
Our entire purpose is just to be a peaceful presence. So we'll observe for any pain or discomfort that a person might be having and report that to the nurses. But most of what we do is just to provide support.
Night after night, these volunteers take 2-hour shifts, becoming family to those who need it most.
It didn't make sense. Like, who are these people that are going to sit with my mother?
For families, including sisters Cynthia Spiegel and Pam Donnelly,
You want to start with an edge, or
Noda offers something precious, peace of mind.
You don't realize how exhausted you are. You know, it was just, I was so grateful that I could leave and know that she wouldn't be alone.
The night Dave's mom passed, she was holding the hand of a Noda volunteer.
There's this organization called Noda.
He shared the emotional story on his show.
And the gentleman who was with her when she passed at 3:50 in the morning has been doing it for 9 years. So a couple times a week, makes himself a thermos of coffee, goes and sits with someone who's dying and holds their hand. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Is it just incredible that there are people like that?
There you go.
Then something remarkable happened. About a dozen of his listeners who heard him that day
Try this one, maybe?
became Noda volunteers.
He was so passionate about it, I thought, I think I should look into this. This seems like something maybe I could get involved in.
Oh, that's awesome. It was so cool.
And the most extraordinary change happened to Dave himself.
Melissa's taking me by the hand, and she was like, how you feel about it? I'm like, I'm nervous.
And within 2 weeks, I had decided that I was so moved by what they did, and and in an effort to honor her memory, I became a volunteer.
You have to have patience for puzzles.
In a world where we're all so busy, the volunteers with Noda ensure that every story has a witness and every hand finds another to hold.
There's my mom's room.
There's your mom's room.
Yeah, 305.
And in these same halls where he said goodbye to his mom, Dave Glover discovered that sometimes the greatest gift we can give another person
All right, I'll see you Thursday.
Take care.
All right, baby.
Bye-bye.
is simply being there.
And it's just the most meaningful thing anyone can do.
That was Mike Bush reporting. A Colorado rapper is dropping beats and barriers. Avigan Krugel tells us why he is turning the volume up on mental health to break the stigma in his community.
Where someone comes from can shape who they become.
If you grew up in Denver or if you're a native of Denver, you understand what I mean by 5 points in the 90s. It was rough.
Corey Matthias grew up surrounded by violence, but found safety in the studio.
Because some of my music is me getting a lot of anger out. Some of my music is me getting a lot of confusion out or whatever. So just, you know, this is where I come to bare my soul.
Rap music has long been a voice for struggle and survival, a theme that's dominated the genre.
Death, murder, money, cars, clothes, and that's what sells.
For years, Corey's music was filled with anger and violence. Masking the struggles he faced within.
Yeah, I didn't really know what was going on at the time. I just knew that I was in a very unhappy place, and I was going through depression.
Corey didn't tell anyone because no one in his community ever talked about it.
Your peers, you don't speak about that amongst your peers in our age group.
It's okay to not be fine.
Liesl Perez gets it. She's been trying for years to spread the message about the stigma surrounding mental health, especially for minority groups.
We're living in a time where there's a million reasons to be depressed, but also a lot of good ways to fix it.
Last year, Liesl posted some statistics on social media showing Colorado ranked as one of the worst in the country for overall mental illness, despite good access to care. Stats that found their way into Corey's feed.
There's ultimately a mental health issue in Colorado. Like, we actually are ranked as we're one of the highest mental health states for whatever reason. It might even just be the altitude. It might be something simple as altitude. Yeah. We ain't getting enough oxygen. I don't know what's going on.
Those comments on YouTube went viral.
One random comment from a rap star did more to lead this conversation that Colorado desperately needs than anything else we tried.
Liesl reached out to Corey,
I know.
even though rap isn't usually on her playlist.
I did not have a lot of experience in that. And so this was really the most unlikely collaboration you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, as long as he could hear it a little bit.
The two are now friends.
Snoop and Martha.
Yes, exactly.
Together, they're launching a partnership
We got Snoop and Martha at home.
to convince others in minority communities to talk about mental health.
Talking about it is huge. What Corey did was huge.
You know, I want people to say, oh, if a rapper can talk about it, you know, why can't we?
Corey used to rap about surviving the streets. Now he's healing those wounds with words that lift.
Used to be my angel, I watched you turn to a demon. With so much pain inside my veins, I can't believe it.
I want people to be okay with being human. Like, we need to make mental health cool.
In Denver.
All right, that's a wrap.
Evan Krugel.
That's a wrap.
All right, it is time for a quick break, but let's check out what's coming up next. If you think dancing is easy, well, it's not for me. One man's journey proves it is anything but. We'll show you how he turned a challenge into a triumph. Welcome back. Sometimes, you know, the music just takes over and you find yourself either tapping your feet or nodding your head. Well, one man in Texas took it a step further, literally. Simone Simpson shows us how dancing gave him the confidence to step into the spotlight.
Every journey begins with a single step and the courage to take it.
I've always obviously had cerebral palsy. I've had it since I was born. I started losing the little strength I did have because I was depending on the walker so much.
6, 7, 8, go right, left, right, together. Perfect.
Kevin's goal was to be able to dance at his friend's wedding within a month.
Together, jump.
I ended up dancing for like 3 hours, almost straight. I barely sat down.
5, go 6. Go 7 to the back.
Before Kevin achieved his goal, he needed Jacqueline's help building his strength.
Everything that I know about dance, like I just reached for it and I taught him everything that I know. And it's just such a powerful thing to see that dance has really helped him grow. There you go.
Through dance, Kevin's confidence grew with every movement and every step forward.
This story is so important because I feel like it will inspire so many people that feel like, you know, maybe there's no hope and feel like this is the way that life has to be. Boom, together and bop, bop.
A year and a half after attending his friend's wedding, dance has become a lifestyle for him.
Life memory experience that you just, one of those things you won't forget.
From the first step to center stage, Kevin's story is proof that perseverance can turn movement into meaning.
This has been truly amazing and something that I will always cherish and remember because it definitely changed my life. And a grapevine.
Simone Simpson.
All right, that is it for this episode of Featured. But before we head out, I want to give a very special shout out to our producer, JoJo. She helps make the show happen. And today is her last day producing for us. We wish her well as she moves on to her next adventure. All right, we'll see you next week.